In a seismic eruption that has shattered Britain's political landscape, Prime Minister Kier Starmer has unleashed a verbal assault on King Charles, accusing the monarch of betraying his duty and destabilizing the nation's democracy. This unprecedented attack, sparked by the King's rumored private meeting with Reform UK figures, has ignited a firestorm that threatens to consume Starmer's leadership and plunge Britain into a constitutional crisis. The revelation of Charles's quiet gesture of support for Nigel Farage's movement has transformed Reform UK from a fringe outfit into a juggernaut, riding a wave of public fury and disillusionment with Labour's crumbling governance. Starmer's outburst, branding the King's actions reckless and inflammatory, has not only broken the sacred taboo of attacking the crown, but also exposed his government's fragility as it grapples with economic collapse and mass unrest. Britain stands on the brink of a historic upheaval, with Reform UK poised to seize power and Starmer's premiership hanging by a thread. The King's decision to meet with Reform UK leaders behind closed doors was a breach of the monarchy's centuries-old tradition of neutrality, a move that sent shockwaves through Westminster. Insiders describe the meeting as carrying an air of tacit approval, a signal that Charles saw in Reform UK a reflection of the public's growing discontent. When news of this leaked, Starmer's reaction was volcanic. Sources inside Downing Street say he raged against the monarchy, accusing Charles of undermining the will of the people and dragging Britain into dangerous territory. His words, meant to defend democracy, instead unleashed a backlash of historic proportions. MPs, even within Labour, whisper of betrayal, aides speak of desperation, and the public views their prime minister as a man spiraling out of control. To attack the crown so openly is political suicide, a line no modern leader has dared cross. This crisis didn't emerge from nowhere. Labour's government is buckling under the weight of catastrophic economic failures. Inflation is soaring, energy bills are crushing households, and food prices are relentless. Protests have erupted across cities, with streets filled with anger and despair. Labour's promise of stability lies in tatters, replaced by scenes of chaos and distrust. Against this backdrop, King Charles's subtle nod to Reform UK was a spark in a tinderbox. Nigel Farage, ever the opportunist, seized the moment, declaring the King's gesture a historic turning point, proof that Labour can no longer lead. His words resonated, framing Starmer's attack on the monarchy as an act of arrogance, a betrayal of Britain's values. Reform UK, once dismissed as a protest movement, is now a national force, surging in polls and flooding with volunteers and donations. Starmer's decision to savage the King has turned a potential scandal into a full-blown constitutional crisis. The unspoken rule of British politics, never attack the crown, has been shattered. The consequences are catastrophic. Headlines scream of a government at war with the monarchy. Polls show Labour in freefall, with 62% of Britons believing Starmer disrespected the King, and nearly half demanding a public apology. Reform UK, by contrast, is soaring, overtaking Labour in key constituencies and doubling its membership overnight. The public narrative is brutal. The King reflected the people's voice, and Starmer silenced it with hubris. In rural towns, struggling cities, and working-class communities, Reform UK is hailed as a savior, its momentum fueled by every word of Starmer's reckless outburst. The fallout has been swift and merciless. Within hours, Britain's political landscape was unrecognizable. News outlets ran banners declaring Prime Minister versus King, a devastating image for a nation that sees the monarchy as a symbol of unity. Even left-leaning publications turned on Starmer, condemning his remarks as unforgivable. The public's reaction is even harsher. Overnight polls show Labour's support collapsing, with voters abandoning a party they now see as arrogant and out of touch. Social media amplifies the fury, with videos of Farage's speeches going viral, shared by millions who feel Reform UK speaks for them. The King's silence, meanwhile, is deafening. Buckingham Palace's refusal to comment only strengthens the perception that Charles has shifted his moral weight away from Labour, a perception that is now reality in the public's mind. Inside Labour, the mood is apocalyptic. The cabinet is fractured, with ministers torn between defending Starmer and saving their own careers. Leaks describe shouting matches in Number 10, with aides accusing each other of incompetence. One senior MP called Starmer's leadership a betrayal of everything we stood for. Backbenchers, fearing electoral annihilation, are plotting to distance themselves, with whispers of a no-confidence vote growing louder. The government is paralyzed, no longer debating policy but survival. Starmer's authority is crumbling by the hour, his allies dwindling, his enemies emboldened. Meanwhile, Reform UK thrives. Farage's calm, statesmanlike response contrasts sharply with Starmer's rage, framing him as a leader who respects Britain's traditions while Labour burns. The monarchy's silence is a weapon. Charles's retreat to Sandringham, flanked by advisers, fuels speculation that the palace is deeply offended by Starmer's conduct. Insiders describe his remarks as inappropriate and disrespectful, words that deepen the image of a prime minister at war with Britain's foundations. For millions, the king's rumored support for Reform UK, whether true or not, has become a rallying cry. Protesters flood the streets, chanting "The King speaks for us," and waving Reform UK flags. In Manchester, banners pair Farage's face with Charles's, proclaiming a new Britain is rising. The fusion of monarchy and rebellion is a perfect storm, uniting those betrayed by Labour's failures with those craving national pride. This is no mere scandal, it's a cultural reckoning. Britons are asking what kind of leader attacks the crown while inflation soars and protests escalate. Labour's promise of unity has been exposed as a lie, its arrogance laid bare. Reform UK, by contrast, positions itself as the only force capable of restoring stability. Its offices are overwhelmed with volunteers, its coffers swelling with donations. Farage's speeches, emphasizing respect for the monarchy and the struggles of ordinary people, resonate deeply. For the first time, Reform UK is not a protest but a government in waiting. Polls suggest that a snap election could see them claim an unprecedented share of seats, potentially toppling Labour entirely. Westminster is a battlefield. Constitutional scholars warn this is the gravest rupture between Crown and government since Edward VIII's abdication. Commentators call it a political thriller unfolding in real time. Starmer's outburst, once a private tirade, is now a death warrant for his leadership. Inside Number 10, desperation reigns. Emergency meetings stretch into the night, with advisers debating whether to attack Reform UK, double down on criticizing the monarchy, or beg for forgiveness. None offer salvation. Labour is splintering, with MPs exploring alliances or outright rebellion. The public's verdict is clear. Starmer has lost the moral authority to govern. The crisis has reshaped Britain's soul. Protests grow fiercer, with placards demanding Starmer's resignation and hailing the king. Social media amplifies the chaos, with hashtags like #StandWithTheKing trending globally. The press is relentless, with front pages declaring Starmer's fatal outburst and Crown versus Number 10. Even Labour-friendly voices admit the damage may be irreversible. A leading columnist wrote, "You do not attack the Crown and expect to survive." Starmer's war on Charles has handed Farage the legitimacy he's chased for decades, transforming Reform UK into a movement aligned with Britain's traditions. As Labour implodes, Reform UK rises. The King's silence, the public's anger, and Starmer's recklessness have created a perfect storm. Britain is not just watching a scandal, it's witnessing the possible end of a prime minister and the birth of a revolution. The nation stands at a crossroads, with Starmer's leadership in ashes and Reform UK carrying the hopes of millions. The question is no longer whether Labour can recover, but whether Britain can survive the upheaval Starmer has unleashed.